As I was writing my ebook, I was actually trying to write out the outline of a particular book I have been trying to wrap my head around. And the book is particularly about single mothers. And this is actually an idea that got to me through one of my boss. This my boss used to be the owner of one of the school I worked in my early years of teaching line. And when my situation got to the public, got known by him, he made mention to me that since I am embarking on this journey of a single mother, I should come up with a topic. And since I told him I want to write, he said I can actually come up with a topic of the book titled The Single Mothers or The Single Motherhood. As at then, I was not actually, I was like, I actually want to write about the independent woman. I want to talk about woman that owns her voice. I want to talk about woman that is intentional about her life. But he said, that's okay. But since you are embarking on this journey, you can actually write on the single motherhood because people are actually looking for answers. And you know, the reality is that when I started working on this path, I realized there are so many things I would have loved to read about, so many things to help me gain understanding about being a single mother, how the journey can be, how it can be navigated, and the things I am supposed to do, or the things I should be working towards to do. And because I don't have a book like that, or probably I've not been searching enough, but somebody that is talking based on African culture, Nigerian society, someone that understands the journey, the single mother in African countries, should be able to break down the concepts in language I can understand. And subsequently, I go online, I go on social media, I go on different pages to look for answer. And at the point, I was like, well, how I wish I have a book like this. And there are so many women out there that would actually have interest in learning about their journey, what their journey entails. And I figured that my journey is not just for a woman that is intentional, but women that have been under the influence of a man and have eventually become a single mother and they're trying to navigate their life to become an intentional woman. So as I was writing the contents of this book, once in a while when it comes to me, I keep having lots of emotions, a lot of talks. And there was actually this one I was battling with, and I kept on asking myself the question, will I still be interested in relationship? Will I still want to get married again? Will I still want to be under the influence of a man? And my responses were coming from two directions. One, surviving, the second one, thriving. Surviving as regards to, I don't even think I want to be under the influence of any man. I just want to live the day as it comes because I can't imagine the type of tension, the kind of workload I'm going to be having on me being under the influence of another man. And the second one is thriving that. Relationship is actually a good thing if I know how to play my game and if I understand the game properly. So I figure that most times I always battle with answers. I always battle with that decision. And that is because as a single mother, there are so many things that is intertwined to our love life, to our dating life, to our relationship life as a whole. And it is not because we are not actually interested in loving again, but because what has happened to us has shaken us in a particular direction. What has happened to us has given us a kind of exposure that is not allowing us to see clearly. But at the same time, we can actually see clearly when we are intentional about the journey, when we are intentional to thrive, not just to survive the day as it comes in relationship. So because of that, I was trying to map out some YouTube topics on what I can actually make videos about. And I figured that I want to talk about single mothers. I want to talk about my journey. I want to talk about how I'm able to get to this point and the things that has happened to me. And because of that, before I can actually begin to put everything down into writing, I want to talk about this in a faint manner so that subsequently I can have some points, some clarifications to actually help me buttress what I'm going to put in that book. And so far, for this month of April, I have come up with series for single mothers, how they can begin to navigate their path again, just like I did, based on my stories. my convictions, my realities, my circumstances. Not that it has been easy, but as a woman that is striving as a single mother, as a woman that is intentional about her life, as a woman that is finding purpose amidst the chaos that is actually going on in her life. And because of that, I was able to come up with like these four topics. And I'm thinking that maybe month interval, I'm going to be talking about single mother because at the end of the day, my brand, my community is actually about single mothers and intentional women, single mothers that have, gone through the difficulties of life and they are trying to juggle 3 to 4 duties at once. An intentional woman that probably she has not been into any relationship or she has been into one, she's a divorcee without any child, but she's actually intentional about living a purposeful life. Then the other ones goes to the general mass of the woman, those that actually want to understand or find clarity in their journey in this life. So far, I've been creating a series, and the first one is about how you can transform your story as a single mom. The second one is how you can balance your work, your your motherhood, and also your self care. And the third one is about financial empowerment for single mothers. And lastly, for this month, it's going to be about love, dating, relationship as a single mom, because I really want to be able to express myself as much as possible based on everything that has happened to me in terms of love, dating, relationship as a single mom. It is not that we can't actually surrender or submit to the idea of a man putting us under protection or custody. But because of what has happened to us before, we tend to fall into a category of thinking because we are kind of scared of what is likely to happen. But probably because of the challenges and responsibilities on our shoulder, we don't always find love interesting. We don't always find love attractive. We don't always find love, meaningful to partake in. And because of that, we try to resent this part of us. And when we now begin to perceive a partner or an opposite gender that is coming up with some goodings and the likes of them, we tend to operate from that victim mindset. Feeling love is not about not feeling the pain. It is about transformation of the pain. Because normally when we begin to see men that is coming to us like something we have seen before, probably a man that has characters or has an attribute like somebody we've met before that has broken our heart or like our ex-husband, we tend to remember what happened then. But it is not about dwelling on the pain. It is not about dwelling on the situation. It is about transforming the whole story, making yourself understand that yes, you have been exposed to chaos, but this can actually be another safety for you. But because we don't actually trust man enough to put in our very best into nurturing relationship based on what has happened to us, we eventually let go of those that are actually intentional about being with us. And this is not actually about you justifying if you are wrong or right. It's about understanding your perception about what has happened to you before. And that is what I really want to talk about today. Our perception, our perspective, our exposure has shaped our understanding to where we are. So, how can we actually begin to navigate from here again as a single mom? How do we find love? How do we date? How do we form relationship that is not just long lasting but intentional about our being as a whole? So being a single mother comes with unique challenges and responsibilities, but it doesn't mean love and meaningful relationship are off limits. And that is one thing I always like to remind myself. Because I am a single mom does not mean I can't find love again. Because I am a single mom does not mean I can't be with somebody that is intentional about me. Because I'm a single mom does not mean I can't find love flying around and I'm selective about the choices I want to make. But the thing is that dating while raising children is not easy. Dating with the idea, with the concept of you coming from chaos to clarity or from chaos to calmness takes a huge toll on us. And that is because it involves juggling a lot of emotions. You're trying to balance your time, you're trying to balance your expectation, and sometimes you're also trying to find a way out of disappointment. You have your partner or soon to be partner waiting for you, and you also have some mates you need to meet with your children, or you have somebody you are thinking you need to find the balance on how you can divide your attention for either the partner or your children, or probably you're trying to juggle your work. You're trying to make sure things are going in order, or you have some expectations regards to a guy. And because the whole of that begins to have a toll on you, many single mothers begin to struggle with guilt, feeling that I hope I'm not doing the wrong thing, But because of the fact that I have gone to actually do something with myself, am supposed to be taking care of my children. And because of that, I am feeling guilty. Or maybe when I go out for like 2, 3 hours and I return back home and my children are telling me, Ma, while you are away, somebody did this to me. I could not do this because you are not around. We trip ourselves probably because we just want that emotional connection again. But we are so scared of judgment. I understand that the society does not actually give them to single mothers like that because every step we take, we are bound to be questioned by the society. And that is because society are operating from the concept of because you're a single mother, you believe you can have a whole world within you in your own life. So because of that, you have to be willing to accommodate and endure whatever it is that is coming to you. So they don't actually want you to find happiness anymore. They feel that since your story is not with your husband again, your story is supposed to be ending, not actually improving or increasing in any form. Or sometimes we also struggle with uncertainty about new partner. How will they fit into our lives? I have been with men that have high self-esteem and value. Imagine me now coming down to somebody that is so below me. There are certain things we actually begin to wonder and we actually begin to question. And this is not actually coming from the point of we don't actually care. We care, but we are only trying to have a kind of reality check on how these things are going to be affecting us. So in this video, I actually want to talk about the basics of love and dating as a single mother. And one thing I always like to talk about when it comes to transformation are the mindset shifts you need for emotional resilience. Because the mindset is the central focus of everything that is happening in your life. If you don't fix your mindset, you are probably going to be operating from the old software. And imagine when you have a system that is running on an old software, imagine the kind of productivity it will give you. We are also going to be talking about practical struggles for meeting the right partner. And I can actually say this a whole lot of the time. In fact, it got to a point I had to tell myself, anything that is with relationship, I am out. Because at this time, it has been a complete struggle trying to find the right fit. Sometimes it might not necessarily be a whole struggle, probably the direction you are looking at it, or the kind of understanding or approach you are giving to your situation might actually make it appear to be so. And we're also going to be talking about how you can navigate relationship with children in the future. Though this is one thing I have not actually worked into, but I think I've had the experience once or twice, which I have also put down into what I'm going to be talking about today. And lastly, we need to understand that heartbreak, setbacks, and realistic expectations are also one of the things you need to expect upfront. By the time we have the whole of these notions, we can easily understand the concept of love, dating, relationship as a single mother. So we're going to be starting from the very basic, which is love and self-worth. You see, your value is not diminished because you're a mother. And it took me a whole lot of time before I can actually understand this. Because you're a mother does not mean your value has decreased. Although I can categorically say in Nigerian world, in African world today, we tend to associate our attribute to so many things. Maybe the number of children we have, or the kind of house we are living in, or the kind of environment we live in, or the kind of liabilities and assets we have. But the reality is that your value is not just about the fact that you have a mother, because you have a full operating system, which is your body. So why do you have to attribute this to anything or to even having children at all? You also have a life routine which you can also call a home. Some partners may shy away from dating a mother. That's quite all right. But this does not reflect your words, just their readiness. And I think I've met a couple of men that would always say single mother is a no-no. And I've also met single guys that would say they prefer single mother because they are operating from the mindset of experience, not a woman that don't even know what life is about. It is actually an advantage, a plus to any man that is willing to be with you as a single mom because you are operating from the aspect of you've been in this situation before and you know what life is about when it comes to marriage relationship. So it is very common that some single mothers or some like us they fear rejection and worry about being too complicated. And I can understand that some men will always tell you, I can't even imagine the whole of the body. I can't even control what I'm thinking right now. Imagine I have to cater for you. I have to cater for your children. I have to cater for your needs. You have your house in place. How do I begin from there? I was actually thinking you are somebody that can live without the children. Some might even tell you, can you just put your children away so it can be you and I alone? But at this point, you need to focus on your personal growth. You need to focus on your personal growth because whatever is not adding to your value is a no-no. It is the no-no checklist. And that is why sometimes I prefer that whenever you are going into any relationship, which you are going to be getting into very shortly, you need to have a kind of checklist and expectation or a kind of value that needs to be met by a guy. Any lady that depreciates your value because you have a child or children is not actually good for you. There are people that are afraid of the kind of, growth, the kind of clarity you carry. Because a sane man that understands true value of a woman will not just attribute her worth to the number of children she's having or the number of marriages she has left behind. So you need to focus on your self-love. Do not let anybody steal that away from you. Don't even need validation from anybody. For the fact that you are a single mother of one or two, like myself, I have two kids, a boy and a girl. That is actually an up game for me because at this age of mine, I have this lovely body that can still attract men, even with the fact that I have two kids in my house. So it shows that I should love myself unconditionally because I have been able to put in the all of this together with this body of mine. So what is there to be left out if I don't love myself enough? And the love you are giving to me is just going to be an addition, not the main target of what I actually needed. So we need to actually operate from this main mind frame to understand that whatever anybody is telling you out there is either a plus or a minus. It is not going to be reducing what you already have within you. And confidence before seeking a relationship, and this is where most of we women actually have work to do when it comes to confidence, building that courage. Remember, we talked about this in the previous video, which is financial empowerment for single mothers. You need to have courage. You need to have courage. That courage is what will build your confidence because you need to be able to step out there to say yes to your yes and no to your no. You need to be able to make decisive decisions on what is good for you and what is not. So believe in yourself that you are capable to find love again. Haven't you heard about stories about women, single mothers that are getting married to single guys, or they are even in relationship they never thought they would have in their wildest dream? Not even when they were actually much younger. But the relationship is coming to them when they are older because they understand the journey, they understand the process, and they've been able to understand that confidence is just what you need to be able to overcome your fear. And fear is just a blindfold sabotaging you to be able to take charge of your life. So, as a single mom, your love and self worth is not attributed to the number of children you have. Now, you need to set some priorities as a single mother, and that is part of the basics we need to understand. And it is not because we are operating from a kind of articulated mind frame, but because that is just the reality. People are always afraid when it comes to single mother. We have priorities. Of course, we do. Your children should come first, but your happiness matters too. So we try to maintain this balance as a single mom. It is not because we are selfish, but because boundaries are crucial. You are trying to make sure that you have time management opportunities. You are trying to make sure that dating doesn't compromise your parental responsibilities. And that is where the guilt caging comes in. When you're trying to maintain this balance and set the priority, people always feel threatened by it. And we personally, we feel threatened by it. But your emotional availability goes a long way. You need to be present for your children. You also need to be present for that partner. So some of our partners or potential partners may struggle to accept your priorities. You're trying to choose your children over me, or you are supposed to choose me over your children. A good partner is not supposed to make you choose. He is supposed to understand the fact that you are coming from the mind that you've been with these children for a while. And these children are a major part of your life. As much as you want to have happiness and happiness too, you need to understand that your children also come first. Imagine taking those children away from toxic marriage or relationship, now bringing them to another one in a different dimension entirely. So you are trying to actually maintain this standard so that it does not lead to tension and disappointment. So now that we have actually uncovered the basics, let us take a look at the mindset you really need to love, date, and have relationship as a single one. The very first one is that dating is not a competition. And I think you need to allow that sink in. Even if the ladies you have been in this journey eventually get married, that does not mean you have to jump into any marriage or relationship again. You don't need to rush to catch a partner. And I think I mentioned this, and I'm still going to be making a video about it over and over again, inshallah. Those are the things you should not do immediately after divorce. Jumping into relationship after breakup is definitely not one of them. You don't jump into relationship immediately after breakup or divorce or separation because you need to be able to analyze what has happened to you before. You need to be able to operate from a clean slate of mindset. You need to be able to tell yourself that you know your mistakes and you know your lessons. You need to be able to allow yourself, wallow in yourself, and have serious conversation with yourself, letting you understand where you stand, where you don't belong, what is possible to happen, and what is very much not advisable to step into anymore. So you need to understand that your relationship or dating is not a competition. Even if you are watching friends that are picking different partner or they are moving to a lot of relationship, maybe marriage, or some of them are even traveling out with another partner. Understand that when these people don't heal part of them that has got broken, they won't be able to maintain that relationship for long. And even when you keep watching these people, they only trigger pressure and insecurity. And we don't actually want that because we are intentional women. We are intentional about our life. So it is okay to focus on the fact that something is not right now and you're trying to work on it. So focus on your own unique journey instead of trying to make dating a competition. And the second mindset you need to understand when it comes to dating, love, and relationship is that quality over quantity. You see, focus on meaningful connections rather than casual encounters. You see, some men, they are just there for being there sick. Some men are actually for the max. Some are just for you or for them to call on you when they need your presence in their life. Some are actually just there just to be able to fill in the blank spaces, not necessarily to be the answer, but to just fill in that space. And you realize that at the long run. Subsequently, when you begin to have different men come to you, I realize that some of them are not actually worthy. So instead of you now trying to pack everything at once in a single basket, try and select the ones that are qualitative instead of quantitative. Qualitative are the ones that will add more value to your life. Those that even if you don't settle with them, you know that for the rest of your life or for so many years to come, they have one major thing to contribute to your life. I am somebody that I don't actually save contact on my phone. That is because before I can save a contact, I know that this person is actually adding to my life and he is not removing something from my life. So even if this person leaves, I am still okay as a whole. But the fact that keeping relationship that is okay will help you go a long way. I have been with a guy that did not actually ask me out. I was actually expecting that he's going to say something, but this guy had interest in me, but he could not proceed because he is a Christian, I am a Muslim. And he already knows based on our conversation that I would never allow a Christian be with me. Though people might actually have other reasons as Christians and Muslims, but I think that is my value. That is the protocols. That is my boundary. I have established some protocols on. Now, different for somebody else, but for somebody like me, I believe I would actually want to be with a Muslim, somebody like myself. Not because I can't keep you as a friend, but to have a partner, it has to be a Muslim. And this Muslim has to be able to mark off some boxes on my checklist. So because of that, we're actually friends. We talk a lot. We chat. It's actually in my former workplace. And subsequently, he would call me. I have this job offer for you. Would you like to take it? He even gave me a job offer that I had to do as a part-time job, and it was paying me so well. So now imagine having like five, seven, or 10 of somebody like that. Imagine what your life would look like. So at this point, as a single mom, you need relationship that will add value to you, not the ones that will drain you. All those contact lists to have there. If you have any financial situation when you call them, would they be willing to answer? Would they be willing to give you something promising? Or they are just going to look at you like a trash and dump you in the garbage? So, things like that happen. So at this point, casual dating might seem easier. You're thinking that maybe just stumble on a guy, you just casually like that and things like that. But it can lead to emotional exhaustion and hurt. There was a time I had an encounter with a guy. He's also a teacher. And do you know, I was actually trying to think that this is going somewhere. I was almost trying to throw caution to the wind. But eventually, I figured that we're only on casual dating, nothing actually serious. And because of that, if I hold on too long to this person, it is possible I have some kind of heartbreak, some kind of hurt. And eventually, I have to begin to step back. That's why, as a single mom, we don't just love with our emotions, we love with our brain too. And it is very important for you to actually choose quality over quantity. You see those long list of male friends or male guys you have met at the bar and places like that. You don't need most of them. Filter them, and probably you can have a raw test on all of them. What is your perception about me? What do you think about me? If probably I am not a single one, would you have been with me? Now that I'm a single one, would you have preferred to be with me? Have some conversation for you to actually know the kind of person they are. So you can begin to understand the kind of expectations you can have from them. So you can begin to choose those ones that are qualitative over quantitative. And the third mindset I don't ever and ever joke with when it comes to being a single mother is transparency. You see, there was a time I was in my early years when I started my journey in 2023 then. When I got a job in 2024 in my sister's place, then I would go to work. When people ask me, are you married? I would say no. Do you have a child? I don't actually answer that question because I was ashamed about the fact that I have two kids, somebody of my age, and when they go through my CV, they realize that I probably write divorced or something like that. So because of that, I was so ashamed. Now, do you know what that did? It is not that it actually affected me in a particular big manner, but it affected my perception about me. It affected my self worth. It affected my self value. It affected my orientation about me. And subconsciously, it was affecting the kind of people I was meeting because there is this energy of vibration and polarity. The way something is happening inside of you is eventually what will begin to reveal to your outside world. And whatever you keep saying to yourself, we eventually find a way to come to you. That is how the universe works. And I figured that at that point, I was meeting just single guys all through. I was not even seeing any married men because that is the kind of energy I was projecting to the outside world. So you need to be upfront about being a mother. This will help you know men that actually care, that really, really want to see you grow and thrive, not just people that are just trash. You know, there are sometimes you meet men and you realize that the fact that he even heard I'm a single mom, he has actually been helpful. And some, you realize that the moment you tell them, I am a single mother, they run without even looking back. This is how you begin to understand because you are transparent. There is nothing to hide. If eventually they want to settle with you, they should love you enough to also love your children. The world is not fair to everybody. This is my own share of life. So I am accepting this with love, compassion, and empathy. So when you think you want to be my partner, why not accept me for who I am? Why not accept me? Because if reverse is the case, a woman can actually get married to a man with 5 children because our culture, our society, our religion actually permits that. So why does it not permit the fact that a woman can also be married to a single guy even when she has 2 to 5 children? So it all starts from perception and the transparency. Let them know because at that point in time you can know the one that is waiting and the one that is already going. And some they might actually be scared about what will happen to them. They might actually be scared about, oh, I don't know if I continue to be with this woman. Is your ex-husband not going to come? Because these are some of the fears. And I think I'm going to make a video on that Sunday. Some of the fears these guys usually have when it comes to being with a single mom. And I can understand their perception. That's why you need to be grounded in your own decision from the beginning. Are you still going back to your ex-husband or you are actually moving on? Because you left for a reason. Don't go back because of an excuse. So if you know you want to go back to your ex-husband, okay, I'm sure when a guy says that to you, you should understand where he's coming from. But if you're the type that actually wants to move forward, you should be able to give him a straight answer and stand on it. Of course, no, the life with my ex-husband has ended. This is my life now. And of course, it's not just because he has moved on, but I have decided to move on because of me, because of my sanity, because of my mental alertness. So some people, they may ghost you. They may just run away after you just talk. And you realize that, wow, I can't even believe that this guy will stoop so low to take this decision. Some will even block you. Some will even talk. Some will even rant. Some will complain. Some will resent you. But when you're transparent, you know for sure a partner who respects your responsibility and shows interest in your life. And you know, this type of person demonstrates potential for long term compatibility. You see, some men are boys, why some men are true men. Some men are boys in the fact that they operate from the boy mindset. They don't actually have a clear picture of what life is about. So they feel because they are single guy, they need to be meeting with a single lady. So when they now meet something opposite, they react to your life, your situation from the mindset of a boy. That's why you have a man that got married to 2 3 wives and is not able to be just. He's not able to settle rifts. He's not able to justify his actions. He's not able to take proper decisions on the 2 or 3 wives. But you be with a particular man, he would even have 2 women under his roof, and he knows how to play his game. Those ones are men, not boys. Just like the saying that it says polygamy is meant for men, it is not meant for boys. So, as a single mother, you are actually choosing men, you are not choosing boys. So, at the beginning, you can easily say, this person is not good for me. based on the kind of action he must have initiated when you are transparent with him. So now that we have actually cleared the three core mindsets you need to have to actually start dating as a single mom, the next thing for you to understand are the practical steps you need to do to date as a single mother. I can actually tell you personally, I have decided to close the chapter of dating for now because I feel that I am just building the foundation of my life. 2026 is a life for me to actually build the foundation of my life, which I have started, alhamdulillah. So I understand that at this point of my life, I actually want to take a break. But if you're actually willing that you really, really want to take a step into this, these are the steps I would recommend you should take. The very first step to do to actually really, really work on without looking back or having second thought is to heal and reflect. You see that your past relationship that did not work. You need to analyze it. You need to have serious conversations with yourself because sometimes bottled pain can be affecting your decisions. That is why we are coming out clean to be objective about our choices. That is why we need to be able to look at our life on the objective side. We are not actually shying away from what has happened to us, but we are acknowledging the fact that this has happened. Evaluate past relationship and personal patterns. You also have your own contribution to this. So because you have your own part, you don't just put the blame on your ex-husband. I usually tell myself, all I just want is for him to be able to realize that he is also part of the problem. But while trying to resent or probably push the blame to just one person will not help you understand why that has happened to you in the first place. You need to be able to check, what do I want in a partner? Probably there are some things you have done before that was not working for you, or there are some decisions you have taken, or probably there are some impulsion your ex-husband has given to you that he has made it mandatory for you to actually abide by. Then you can begin to see how this person and relationship has affected you. Then you ask yourself the question, what do I want in a partner? What values are non-negotiable? As for me, I have told myself any man that is coming to my life should be a plus, not a minus. I'm not even removing from what I already have because I already want to make myself a whole. Anyone that is coming into my life needs to respect my being as Meenah. And what does my being entail? I have a child. I have a career. Are you the type that have insecurity issues? Can you handle my growth? How does a partner fit into my life and my child's life? I think this is one question every single mother is always battling with. And it got to a point I was like, well, I think at this point I just I don't want to think about it at all because I don't see them fitting in anywhere. Because how do I start introducing you? What do I tell my children you have? What do I tell them you have? What kind of relationship do I want you to keep with them? Some single mothers still jump into relationship every now and then, introducing different men to their children back and forth. This is actually affecting your child's growth. It is affecting your child's emotional stability because eventually what you think you are doing that they are seeing, they are so small. Subconsciously, it is programming in their mind. And when they begin to get exposed to something like that, react and respond to something that feels familiar. And they operate from that angle. Most of the narcissists, some traumatized men we are looking at outside there, they are actually operating from the kind of home they have grown in. They are operating from the kind of understanding they have from their parents, consciously, subconsciously. So you are investing a particular seed in your child, in your children. So the more you begin to understand how a partner will fit into your life and your child's life, the clearer you begin to get when you are trying to evaluate, to heal and reflect. So, heartbreak can still occur after reflection. I swear to God, you can be so surprised that what you think you have actually gone past, you are still coming back to meet it in cycles. But understanding yourself reduces repeated patterns of pain. And there is one thing I actually want to talk about at this point, which is very, very dear to me. And it is something I feel most single mothers are struggling with. I was in the hospital one day and a woman came in that she wants an abortion pill. You see, it is nothing to shy away from. We are women, we understand the concept of what our word looks like. And for single mothers like myself, I understand. Probably she made a mistake or she made a wrong turn. And because of that, she was able to tell the doctor because I was actually in the room and I was trying to gather some resources and it was almost like a family hospital. So some of these things I was once close to the doctor. It was more like my our family's doctor close to my mom. The story is a little bit connected. That was why I had the access of being in the room with them. And I overheard that she was saying that she she has probably been having this encounter and this is going to be the fifth time be getting pregnant with somebody and she will be tempted to remove it. Why? And it is not that these people she would have actually wanted to be with them, but because she realized that when she feels she should trust them, that is when heartbreak coming again. And before she could know it, she's pregnant, this and that. Sometimes when you don't reflect on what has happened to you, you keep repeating cycles you think you have overcome. And this is because she could not control her emotional needs. She could not control herself sexually. So at that point, I figured that if I were to be in a situation, I could not finish up with the conversation with her and the doctor. But I think one thing I would actually tell her is that as a single one, you need to be able to have good self-control. You need to be able to control yourself. Instead, you keep falling victim of different men. They will come to you. They don't like protection. They don't do this. These are deep conversations we need to have with ourselves. They don't use protection. They don't use this and the likes of them. But they are very, very important for you to take note of when you are stepping into relationship. That's why you need to heal and reflect. What are those inputs you have? What are those patterns you keep repeating? Because the earlier you begin to understand and acknowledge them, the better you begin to walk away from them. And the second step that is very important for you to take is to build confidence. You see, focus on self-care, your physical, mental, and emotional care. You see, when a man is coming to you and you realize that he's looking tattered, he's already a no-no. The one should come to you is questioning your physical appearance. It does not understand the fact that you are coming from a very far place to be able to even come and give him listening ears. It's a no-no. If a man does not acknowledge your efforts mentally or is degrading your abilities emotionally, he is a no-no. You realize that so many of these men you think you can hold on to, they are actually just for the time being. With time, you are going to meet a better man if you are patient and selective enough. Those single mothers that are able to get married to another man, if they have not been patient and listed their focus properly, they wouldn't have gotten married to that man that treats them like a queen. Some men treat single mothers like something they have never seen in their life and they treasure them to their heart content. While some single ladies barely earn so much respect because she has the confidence within herself. She understands her game. Confidence is attractive. When somebody sees you, when you are confident, they see that attribute and they value your presence because you are able to show that attribute. And that is why we single mothers are lacking so much. We don't actually portray that confidence. We are not even confident in our own skin. We are so ashamed of our story. We are so ashamed of what people might say or life might throw at us. But confidence actually starts from within. Confidence is attractive, but vulnerability is actually natural. We can all be vulnerable. You can be strong and still be vulnerable. And single mothers always struggle insecurities about, appearance, time, restlessness, convenience, and the likes of them. But you need to really start working on your confidence. And the third step that is very important is to choose the right environment for meeting people. I have come across different dumb men that will tell me they would come to my house to pay me a visit. And I will tell them, my house is not a restaurant, it's not a guest house. It is not meant for people to just keep walking in and out. It is not meant for outsiders. It is not meant for strangers. Like you said, my house, my home, my space, my rules, my standards. You need to let them understand upfront. So any man that is seeking for your attention, that is taking you to a place that is not worthy, then you should know that that kind of man is not actually somebody to begin with. A man should respect you and respect you enough to take you to a more, conducive and welcoming environment for the first time or subsequent times. Because it wants to be able to win your heart. It wants to be able to make you feel comfortable as much as possible. And it's also giving you a taste of what it looks like when you eventually say yes to him. So there are different options, social gatherings, or I don't actually buy the idea of going to clubs, but probably there are some sections of gatherings that you can actually go to. Maybe some eateries in the airport station, or some places like restaurants, or some amusement park, or some park zones, or some reservation areas, some resort areas, and the likes of them. These are places you can meet people. So you have to be able to choose the right environment for meeting them. When you meet somebody at the club, imagine the kind of relationship you share with them. So we usually have some success story that people will say they met at the club. But how many percentage success rate have you heard so far? Probably only 1 out of 10, or probably only 1 out of 100. So it is very much common. So wherever you meet people, say a lot of things about them. It also says a lot of things about your own perception as a woman that is intentional about her life. Not every encounter leads to love. Some connections will fizzle and just end abruptly, and you won't even be able to clarify Some people will come to your life, make you feel like everything should be meant for you. And after a couple of conversations, they go out, they zoom off, they ghost you. That is the reality. That is the struggle. That is what people can do. That is what people are capable of. And it is not because you are not enough, but because these people don't have the energy to keep you. They are able to chase you, but once they get to you, they let you go because you are not actually what they would have wanted in the first place. So these people, the way you meet them, the way you give them attention says a lot. And you have to be able to read a man immediately from the point whereby you begin to meet this person. So you need to understand that compatibility goes beyond shared experience. It goes beyond what you see at the first time. It is something that will continue thriving, working, that you continue experiencing over and over again. But that first perception is very important. And the fourth step you need to really do, which I've explained a little bit in step three, is to set clear boundaries. You see, divine comfort levels early. Let him understand you are a busy type. You have two children. It is not because we are trying to chase him to the moon over and beyond, but because you need to be able to establish some protocol so he can respect you. It can give you that value you are worthy of. Because sometimes when you just dabble on them, I have seen a lot of African men, they will tell you they want to see you, they want to talk to you, and they just call you anytime they feel comfortable. They just want you to be around anytime they want. They just want to talk to you whenever they are less busy. They tend to use you when you are relevant to them. And when you stop being relevant to them, they trash you without having second thought. So that is why you need to set some clear boundaries. Give them the fact that you can't have enough time or you don't have much time to spare. And even if you are giving them time, it has to be something that is worthwhile, not just a complete waste of time. You go to another one and realize that, oh my God, imagine what a waste of time, what a waste of energy, what a waste of money. But at the end of the day, realize that the meeting with them does not actually yield and does not even add to your growth. It only adds to your headache or probably the time you are wasting. Instead of you making more money at a particular time, you are meeting with a guy that is not even intentional. While sacrificing what you think you should sacrifice it, he is there trying to manipulate you just into his hands or to his bed. So you need to give him timing. You need to understand that your childcare is also important. At this time, I don't joke with my children. I need to pick them up. Why don't you put your children in your sister's place so we can be together? Of course, I don't do that yet. And I don't sleep with men I don't trust 100%, or at least to reasonable amount of percentage. You can't just instruct me to go and put my children somewhere because I want to spend some time with you. And I've seen some single mothers that will do that without even asking them. They put their children somewhere, they just hang their children, they just go on weekend, leaving their children hanging unattended to because the guy they feel that if he should leave, they might not be able to get another one. You need to understand the mindset you are operating from. And that's why we need to tackle the mindset, which we have done initially. Give yourself that courage and understand that your self worth is not bound to you being a single mother. So understand that if it needs your attention, it has to be planned. You have to prepare. You can't just bump onto you. I have work to do. I have arrangement to do. Some will even push your boundaries. They will question your loyalty. They will question a lot of things. And at the end of the day, they eventually walk away and will lead to hurt. You're thinking, oh, is there? It's going to make a good life. Is this, is that? But you are actually standing on a long, thin rope. So at this point, you need to steer your boundaries. You need to establish some protocols. Let him know your roles, your duties, your standards, your qualities, what you're looking for. And by this, it begins to chase you. If it's somebody that is intentional, you will know. If it's somebody that is not, you will know. If it's somebody you actually want to let go, you will know. If it is somebody that is willing to do and dare more, you will know. But if you don't give him all the steps to work on, there is no way you're going to be ascertaining that is a good fit for you. And I think there is one thing that I'm still going to be getting into, which is some realities that actually happen because sometimes we think that we have done our due diligence, but at the end of the day, this man turned out to be the worst nightmare. And that is because one way or the other, you must have noticed some red flags. You must have noticed some little things you feel are not actually important. And those are the things we'll talk about in the later section of this video. But let's quickly work on the steps properly. Then the fifth step is to introduce your child thoughtfully. I'm this person. If I see a man in January, I don't introduce him to my children at the beginning, not even in 6 months, until I'm able to ascertain that yes, this person is worthy to mention to my children. Some partners are so insensitive. They are so stupid to the point that they will just want you to take them to your house straight away, and they start acting like a father or husband, or that kind of wrong impression and perception. And eventually, when they ghost you, they leave you hanging, trying to find what to explain to your children about him or your relationship with him. So if you want to introduce your child or your children to him, introduce your child thoughtfully. Children should meet partners only when the relationship is serious. Only when you realize that yes, this is actually going somewhere, and I can actually understand that, oh, this guy is intentional. Only when you trust your partner's character, because sometimes some of this partner, they end up abusing your child, they end up invading into your privacy, they end up doing a lot of things, ruining your boundaries. They tend to, push your rights, and they just dismantle your values and attributes, and they even turn your children to something you would never imagine. Have you tried to take a look at the kind of family relationship some men usually have when they marry another wife, and the wife that left or probably died left the child or their children in custody of the step mother or the stepwife? Imagine the kind of maltreatment they give some children in some homes. It is just the same thing with this man. Some, you realize that you are leaving your children in their custody, and they end up running their lives for you. So you only allow your children to meet them when the relationship is serious and when you trust your partner. So all the interactions you are having at the beginning of your life should be casual, and observe the dynamics. Try to understand the way it's flowing, the way it talks. When you try to raise conversation about your children, how does it address it? What does it say about your child? What does it say about you bringing up conversations about, about some important things? You don't actually give him the full picture, but gradually you talk to him about some of these things so you can study him and understand where he's coming or operating from. Not all relationship will start the introduction of children. Sometimes heartbreaks come when partner is unable to accept the role of loving your child. And there are some men that they think they love you enough, but when it now comes to extending this love to your children, they go away, they zoom off, they ghost you. That is because they don't have that energy. They don't have power to be able to love your child the way they have loved you. Some can even tell you that, what if you go and put your children somewhere so that we can have good time? At least I have my child too. You can even be surprised that single fathers also portray this character. They just want you to love their children, but they don't want to love your children back. Some will even say your children cannot stay with them; they have to stay somewhere. These are some certain rules that some men will give you over and over again. But if you don't understand your boundaries, your values, your worth, somebody else will dictate it to you. And the last step, which is very important, I would always recommend when it comes to love dating relationship, is that evaluate compatibility beyond surface level. You need to do the inner work. Religiously, do your due diligence. Ask him questions about religious norms and standards. If it's the type of person that is trying to control you, contain you, confine in an environment, you should know. Societally, is it the type that follows societal norms and standards? It is not just on the surface level. Ask him questions about things you have heard. If it's the type of person that sugarcoats, you will know. Except you're not paying attention. That is where the phrase comes in. Do not love with your emotions, love with your brains too. As single mom, there are so many things that will be presenting itself as red flag. When we try to, sideline, sabotage, and feel that, oh, it is actually nothing to worry about, then the problem begins to what? Come in. Then, culturally, what are his beliefs about cultural concepts? How does it approach cultural situation? What does it say about what is happening around you? Consider your values with him, long-term goals, what you are trying to uphold. Is it uploading back? Because some people, some partner, they have different values, and immediately they are operating from different mind frame. There will be the time they have limiting beliefs, and you have elevating beliefs, or you believe that as a woman, even if you have a work you are doing, you have to be submissive under his jurisdiction. One thing I would never do is that I would never, and I can never marry a man that is against me having my own business. If you can't contend that, then it is a no-no. A man that does not understand the value I have for having my own business, having my own financial source of income, having my own stream of income is a no-no. So I can't imagine me with a man that will say, don't post on YouTube anymore, don't share motivational content to women, don't work on your life, you have to dress in the particular manner, except It is not even accept. I can't, because this is part of the thing that is giving me life. This is part of how I'm able to live. My sanity is able to be in place. So you are denying me such access means you are depriving me of life. So your values, what are those things he likes? Is it the type of person that does not like taking his bath? Some things are so inconsequential. But when you get into it, you realize that they are actually playing a major role. Is it the type that does not brush his teeth early in the morning? We have some men like that, just like woman. This type of person that would love to make love to you when he's not clean, when he's so uncomfortable, would love to make love to you any place, anywhere, anytime. Is it the type that understands the value of being a woman? He respects your decisions. And even if he wants to correct you, corrects you with love. And you will definitely do the same thing for him. So these are the things you need to understand about values and also understand long-term goals. In 10 years, where do you see yourself? Where do I see myself? Where do we see ourselves? Is it together or separate? You need to ask him questions. It is not just about the superficial level. You need to be observant, take note of his family, parenting compatibility. Is it the type that when I have children, we put to bed, or even with the children I have now, how do you help around the house? I understand. Maybe we have the money, we have an errand girl, but sometimes there are some times that you need the input of your husband in your parenting abilities. Maybe your child is not feeling fine, he is actually off to work. Though we have a caregiver, but he needs to show up to be present in his life. Or probably you're pregnant, you're not able to go to your workplace. How does it create an environment for you to be able to work, even with the fact that you are pregnant? You know, these are the things you need to be able to look into. How does it do its parenting? Is it the type that resents children or look at them as trash? Or you will always refer my children back to the fact that their father abandoned them? Is it the type that is going to be keep reminding me of what life has been before I met him? Is it the type that will keep telling me, even though that he met me, my life wouldn't have become better? So you need to understand, how do they feel about children, about your children? What role would they play in their life? And in our life as a whole. Even when everything seems perfect, you see, differences in parenting style, inconsequential actions can actually lead to habit. You might realize that just little thing. Maybe it would say that the house you're building, it has to be written in his name. Or probably you should change your surname. The name I've been using for a while to build my brand, you think I will just come and change it because of you? Or probably it will say that your children will not stay under his roof. Or probably it would say that the responsibility of your children, it has to be 70-30. You bear 70, he bears 30 because it's not their father. Or probably it will come up with different notions about how to do your children. It will even tell you that forever and ever they have to take the name of him. It has to be his surname because he's already taken. He will force you, compel you to do some things. You need to be able to evaluate compatibility beyond surface level. Now let's take a look at the common challenges and how to overcome them when you are actually trying to go on relationship. Number one, time constraint. I can actually tell there was a time I was having so much difficulty with one particular partner, and as at then, I was actually trying to give him listening ears because I already know that this guy is not for me. And because of that, I always try to find a way to just, discharge him. But I figure that almost every day when he calls, his calls are always on missed call. That's because I'm always busy. And it is not because, though I know I am trying to avoid him, fine, but not that I am trying to avoid him that much. Sometimes I wake up to his messages, I will tell him, okay, by 8 p.m., I'm going to be reaching out to you. I realize that I'm just entering the house by 8 p.m. I have to observe my solar before I could do the all of that 9:30, and I'm already tired. And he will eventually come to my DM and even ask me, how is your day going? I will be so tired to even reply. But keeping relationship, you need to be able to manage your time. You can schedule dates and you can actually have understanding about arguments. If it's somebody that actually have that understanding for you, he would accept and actually work with the time you give him, understanding that this is the life you are living now, and you need to be able to balance the time between your work, your parenting, and everything. So what you can do is that you need to actually find the balance. And that's why we need to understand and set clear boundaries at the beginning. Make him understand this is the kind of work you do. This is how soon you are free. On Sundays, you have mother and children bonding. So nobody is allowed at that time. This is when you wake up. You just give him some kind of routine so that he can have a picture of when to call you, how to call you. And even if you don't pick the call, he can have a kind of clarity that she is busy. A man that is intentional about your life will understand your narrative. Though I understand that we are human, he might eventually get triggered, but he would be able to bring himself back to the base. He would be able to understand and give himself clarity that, oh, she already mentioned this before. So I think I would agree. And based on this, but I would actually love that you can give me more time. You can allow me spend more time. By so you can even say, okay, why not bring your children? Or should I come and take you so all of us can go out and be together? You know, some men that are intentional, they will give you ways you can, they can even tell you, okay, you want to spend some time with them. Okay, why not let's go spend some time at the beach since you want to spend with them? Or if you're okay with that, I can come pick you, then drop you off there. Nothing. I just want to at least see you together. You know, they come up with different notions, different ways to even help you. Those are intentional men that are really intentional about being with you. The second thing you should actually be prepared for when it comes to dating is to prepare yourself for judgment from the society. You see, society, they don't want single mothers to be happy. They don't even want you to move on. They feel the fact that you have taken that decision, you should remain in that confined environment. But the reality is that you need to surround yourself with supportive friends and family. And that's why the community is also there. If you feel that the chaos out there is too much, come to the community. Consume things that will actually help you become better. And I think with time, I'm going to actually have a community for single mothers personally. Those that are actually single mothers like myself that really want to be intentional and need that listening ears when there are so much chaos around them. So surround yourself with people that are actually helping you. You need to be able to audit your circle, audit your environment. Those that are not adding value to you, don't even think. Don't even have a second thought. Discard them, dispose them, make them, in fact, just trash them like a trash. That is because they don't deserve to be in your circle if they keep draining you mentally, emotionally, and physically. So people may criticize or make assumptions about your choices. Imagine that young guy. He could not date somebody that is in his age bracket is dating such woman. Imagine. People say a lot of things. I'm sure the partner will also hear a lot of things. That's because of the influence this people can have on him. But if it's a guy that's actually about societal judgments, religious jurisdictions and cultural beliefs, those are the types that will listen to such. But those that don't actually have such idea, they just see it as a perspective. They don't even mind, they don't care. They don't have a second thought about it. So you need to understand that people may criticize you, but your choices validate them. Know why you are there. Validation is the key, and you don't actually need it from the outside world. It starts from within. And the third challenge is emotional overload. You see, it can be so draining when you're trying to balance the love you have for your children and your partner, especially when things begin to get intense. You'll be so surprised how much you'll be willing to do with this partner and how much your children can be draining you at that particular time. You may be so overwhelmed with a kind of, joy, relaxation, settlement, and you're trying to keep the balance. So you have to be able to talk to trusted friends and probably communities of seek therapy because sometimes heartbreak can be inevitable. And you may meet people who seem perfect but are emotionally unavailable. You'll be so surprised that somebody you would have actually loved, wanted to hold on to, that you think this person is there. You think that this person is just, wow, I can't imagine. And eventually, what you think is actually true will not become true. So you might actually get attracted to emotionally unavailable people or incompatible, simple people that are not even ready to commit. It is actually one of those things. And the fourth challenge that is very crucial that we shouldn't even ignore, that I always had to my pack list when it comes to meeting anybody in this life, it is heartbreak and disappointment. You see, this heartbreak, it will go around. If you're not a single mom again, even if you're a woman before you get married, you see that heartbreak is something that is just hanging in the air. It's something that is just flying around, especially when you're a single mother. Some partners may lift after learning about your child. Probably your child is having some health issues, is having some financial adjustment that needs to be made, or probably you need his input about something, or probably you need his impact about something, or you talk about your children, and you actually need to be able to maintain the balance. But at the same time, you can't remove them from the shelf because they are one major thing that needs to keep staying on that shelf. So some will even go away, They just do all sorts. And this can actually cause heartbreak and emotional pain. Or some can even seem committed but fail to follow through on promises. Maybe the person has promised you, okay, by next week Friday, I'm going to send you 500K for your upkeep, or probably I'm going to send you an amount of money. Especially when it gets to the point of money, finances, or probably you are even requesting for his help as regards to your children or your business or your home or your feeding, and it feels that this is too much. I have not even gotten married to you, and you're already billing me this much. So when I get married to you, what should I be expecting? What kind of influence am I going to have? How much am I going to be spending on you every now and then? And because of that, they tend to begin to fail on their promises. Or probably before they can trust you, before you can trust them, it takes longer to rebuild, because probably when you have multiple heartbreaks, relationship and the likes of them, you just feel disturbed, you feel unsure and uncertain to be able to commit again to it. Because I think that's even one of what is affecting. Because at this point, I think I don't even know how to. And it's not that I don't know how to. I don't just want a man that is not actually ready to see me for who I am. A man that is not actually ready to accept that part of me, that I am work in progress. Because I understand clearly that he is also work in progress. So if he's able to see me at that point, what is there not to move into? So, heartbreak doesn't define your future, and it is really, really the most important part of the progress. But every experience you have will teach you more clarity and eventually help you shape the next relationship you are going to be choosing. Based on everything that's happened to me, I've been able to come up with this notion. And I think so far, when I've looked far and beyond, I can actually tell that these are the things that are actually affecting most of these single mothers to keep all the relationship. And the last part I really want to touch on that is very important about single mothers when it comes to love getting relationship is how you can actually maintain your relationship and make sure it is healthy. Because it is one thing to be in relationship with the right person. It's another thing to actually know how to maintain such relationship. And that is why some of us are failing at it. That is why some of us are actually not winning at that game. The first thing is communication. You see, honest and open communication is essential. Conflict may arise with time about, maybe you're not giving him the time, you are just too engrossed with your parenting duties, some expectations he has promised that he has not been able to meet you up. But how you communicate determine if the relationship will survive. You need to be able to communicate properly. Be honest. That's why we said we have to be transparent enough. Be honest. Let him understand. And as you're trying to make him understand by communicating, the second thing is to keep the balance. At this point, you need to understand that you are trying to put him into the role of the father of your children. So try to picture it like somebody that is married initially before you became a single mother. How would you have maintained the balance in your home? So you need to now bring that idea back again. Now that you have somebody like him, how do you maintain the balance? So you have to be able to balance nurturing your child and nurturing your relationship. So sometimes you accept the fact that your child needs come first, but at the same time, it can also lead to tension and breakup. So try to keep the balance, and you try to as well communicate with him with the third thing, which is mutual respect. Understand that he also has needs. Understand that he loves you dearly to be a part of your life. For the fact that a man is seeing you for who you are as a single mom, it takes a lot of courage, love, and empathy. Just like if we females are in that position too, you might be thinking he is actually not disturbed. People might be talking to him. Family members might even be resenting him. People might be obstructing his chances. A lot of things might be happening to him internally, but he has actually chosen to be with you because of love, empathy, and that care he has decided to show to you. So your partner must respect your role as a mother, just like you have to respect his role as the potential father of your children. And at a point in time, it is give and take. What you give to him, he has to be willing to give it back. So at the end of the day, realize that your heart, your mind is actually important. But trying to look for love, relationship as a single mom is not an endless race, but it is actually a marathon that eventually help you get to your destination. And you'll be so surprised that sometimes what you're actually looking for is just within your reach. Being a single mother does not limit your love. your life, it actually sets the stage for intentional living. And that is what this channel is actually about. So you protect your heart, protect that of your child, and your emotional well being. And relationships can be messy, it can be frustrating or heartbreaking, but the right partner will embrace your life, will love your child, and grow alongside with you. I have a community where women like myself and you are coming together to become intentional and to also live intentionally. It is home for transforming women. It is a Telegram community, and the link is in the description box below. If this video resonates with what you are actually looking for, subscribe, like, and join the community. And I have a full training on how you can actually get to life on track as a woman of purpose that wants to live intentionally, where I'm going to be walking you through how to audit your life, your mental check, emotional declutter, keeping the burning fire, and how to set intentional goals that is actually about the life you are intentional about, not the one you are being forced to live. The link is in the description box below, and I'm going to be seeing you in my next one. Bye.